Okay, on the board behind me is, well, every season in the NRL history. We're looking at the premierships, the minor premierships, and the wooden spoonists of every season since 1998. Now, as I'm recording this video, it's the 6th of April 2019, and I wanted to actually have a little look at how many times the minor premiers actually went on to win the grand final later in the season. It's actually quite striking. But let's have a look at every season in detail, shall we? So we start with 98. The Brisbane Broncos are the minor premiers. They also win the grand final as well, so they transfer their regular season form into finals and win. And the wooden spoonists were the Western Suburb Magpies. In 99, the premiers are actually the Melbourne Storm, and the minor premiers are the Dragons. Dual Venture Club, it's their first season, and the St George Illawarra Dragons are the minor premiers that year. And the Wooden Spoonists again are the Western Suburb Magpies. They will then go on to form the Tigers that we'll get to later in the video. 2000, the minor premiership and the premiership is won by the Broncos. It's the second time they've done that. The Broncos do this a lot. They'll win the minor premiership and then go on and win the grand final. The Wooden Spoonists that year were the North Queensland Cowboys. So there's a bit of a Queensland sandwich for the NRL that season. 2001, the premiers that year are the Knights, and the minor premiers are the Eels. Yeah, Parramatta get on the board, and the Wooden Spoonists are the Panthers. 2002, the Roosters are the premiers, and they will lift it again twice more, the premiership. And the Warriors get on the board with their one minor premiership in 2002, and the Bulldogs are the Wooden Spoonists that year. 2003, the Panthers are the minor premiers and the premiers. And the Rabbitohs start a string of wooden spoons with only one interruption for 3 out of 4 seasons. The South Sydney Rabbitohs are not a very good side at this point. 2004, the Bulldogs win the premiership. The Roosters get their first minor premiership of many. They will appear a lot on this board. The Roosters in the regular season, one of the best teams. And the Rabbitohs take their second wooden spoon. 2005, the Tigers get their one and only premiership title. The minor premiership is the Eels that year, and the Knights are the Wooden Spoonists. So the Knights get also on this board a lot for not being very good. 2006, the Broncos are actually the premiers that year. Where it says withheld, that we'll get to that, but that's basically the Storm have all those titles stripped because of the salary cap breach. So I'll get to that later on. And the Rabbitohs get yet another wooden spoon. 2007, it's actually stripped from the Melbourne Storm. They would have actually done the double of minor premiership and premiership, and they're stripped. And the Panthers get a wooden spoon in there. 2008, the Sea Eagles restore some order, and they get their first of 2 premierships 2008. And of course, the Melbourne Storm have had their title stripped, and the Bulldogs get the wooden spoon for the second time. 2009, again, the premiership is stripped from the Melbourne Storm. They would have won it. The Dragons were the minor premiers that year, and the Roosters get their only wooden spoon on the board. So the Roosters only have one wooden spoon in the NRL era. 2010, the Dragons do the double. They get the premiership and the minor premiership, and the Storm get the wooden spoon by virtue of the punishment they received from the salary cap breach. They had to play for no points that season, even though they would have made finals football had they been able to play for points, which is frustrating. 2011, the Sea Eagles return to the top, and the Storm get the minor premiership. And the Titans get their only wooden spoon, so the Titans get on the board as being the worst team of the year. 2012, the Storm redeem themselves with the premiership. The Bulldogs are the minor premiers, and the Eels have a wooden spoon. They will appear a lot on this board of being a really bad side as well. 2013, the Roosters get their first premiership in 11 years, and also a minor premiership. They will appear on that quite a bit going forward. And the Eels get yet another wooden spoon. The Eels are on the wooden spoon list a lot. 2014, the Rabbitohs get their sole premiership. That year, the Roosters again were minor premiers. They do this a lot, the Roosters. And the Sharks get the wooden spoon. This is in the aftermath of the peptide scandal, where several of their key players are in hot water and the club is really distracted off the field. Fast forward to 2015, I've obviously just done the video on the Cowboys. They win their only premiership to date. The Roosters yet again are minor premiers, and the Knights get their second wooden spoon and their first of 3 in a row. The Knights. This is when the Knights are terrible at this point. 2016, the Sharks win their first premiership. The Storm win the minor premiership that year, and the Knights yet again are the worst team in the NRL. 2017, the Storm are minor premiers and premiership winners, and the Knights yet again are wooden spoonists. And last season, the Roosters did the double, and the Eels were the wooden spoonists. So, if you take away the withheld and stripped titles from the Melbourne Storm, the minor premiers have gone on to win the grand final a total of 7 times. If you put in the stripped titles, it would have been 8, but 7 times the minor premiers have then gone on to win the overall title in 21 seasons. That's a one in every third season. So 1 season in 3, the minor premiers will go on to win. That's a 33% chance that if you are a minor premiership winner, you will go on and win the title. The most minor premierships, I believe, 1, 2, 4, 5. There are 5 to the Roosters. The Roosters are a very consistent side, especially since 2012. They've won it a total of 2013, sorry. They've won it a total of 4 times as minor premiers. However, the premierships are actually very spread out through a variety of teams. The Broncos have won 3. The Storm, when they haven't had them stripped, have won 3. They would have won 5. The Knights have got 1. The Roosters have 3. The Bulldogs have 1. The Tigers have 1. The Sea Eagles have 2. The Rabbitohs and Cowboys, Sharks all have 1 apiece. So it's very spread out, the success. Minor premiers, the Broncos have got a couple. The Dragons have 3. The Eels have 2. The Panthers have 1. The Roosters have a lot. The Roosters have 5 minor premiership titles. They're a very good side, are the Roosters. The Bulldogs have the 1, and the Storm would have had more. They have 3. They would have had 6 had they not cheated the salary cap. And the Warriors get on there as well. Yes, the New Zealand Warriors had a very good side at that point. The Wooden Spoons, the Magpies, are now part of the West Tigers. They're the dual venture club, but they have 2, but they're now a reserve grade team. The Cowboys have 1, Panthers have 1, Bulldogs have 2, Rabbitohs have 3. They were a very poor side in the early to mid 2000s. They weren't great. The Knights have 4. The Roosters the Roosters were bad in 2009 apparently. The Storm have 1, the Titans have 1, the Eels have a lot. The Eels have 3, I think, and the Sharks have 1. So again, the Wooden Spoon is not as shared out. There are some teams that are generally bad in here. The Knights, the Eels, and the Rabbitohs at periods have been utterly terrible for successive seasons, not just the odd season. But you can see how balanced the NRL is because success is shared across the board and lack of success is shared across the board. It's not just one team dominating everything, and it's not one team being generally dreadful. Although there are a series of teams on here who get on here more than once as being really bad, but it's a really spread out where the success is, and a third of the time. So 1 in 3 times, the minor premiers will go on to be the overall winners of the premiership. So there's a 33% chance that if you win the minor premiership, you will go on to lift the main prize, which is the grand final, win the grand final. But there we go. That is the history of the NRL in a nutshell. It took me an hour to prepare this video for 8.5, 9 minutes worth of footage. But there we go. Thank you very much for watching. It has been a pleasure going through the success and a heartache of teams in the NRL's history. And hopefully, who will be the minor premiers and who will be the premiers and who will be the wooden spoonists. That is yet to be determined until the end of the season. We'll find out in September. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Place your thoughts below and I'll have some more videos for you soon.